Hello, my travel family. Let me stop you right here because what you wear to the airport matters far more than most people realize. If we haven't met yet, my name is Mila, and for the past 15 years, my workplace has been a metal tube cruising at 35,000 feet. I've worked for a major US airline long enough to have seen every possible version of air travel, including the good, the bad, and some truly confusing fashion decisions. Today, we're having an honest, practical conversation about airport outfits, because flying isn't a fashion show. It's an endurance event, and what's on your body can determine whether you arrive relaxed or miserable. I understand the urge to look good for that airport photo. We all see celebrities stepping off planes in heels and tight leather pants looking flawless. What doesn't get shown is that many of them are flying private, have assistants handling everything, or are simply uncomfortable and being paid to tolerate it. For the rest of us, flying places real stress on the body. Cabin pressure, dry air, long periods of sitting, and limited movement all add up. Your clothing becomes either your ally or your enemy. By the end of this video, I want you to look at your closet differently before your next trip. We're going to walk through the worst things you can wear on a plane. Some of these mistakes are about comfort, some are about hygiene, and one of them is a genuine safety risk that most travelers never think about until it matters. Let's start with something I see constantly, especially on summer flights or trips to tropical destinations, and that is jumpsuits and rompers. And I love a good jumpsuit. They look stylish and feel easy when you're standing, but flying is not a standing activity. The real problem appears the moment you need to use the airplane restroom. Airplane bathrooms are extremely small, and when you wear a one-piece outfit, using the toilet means pulling the entire top half down. Now imagine trying to do that while the plane is shaking from turbulence, in a space barely wide enough to turn around, while holding fabric off the floor. As someone who has cleaned those lavatories, I can tell you with certainty that what's on that floor is almost never water, and you do not want your clothes touching it. If you're wearing a jumpsuit, you're forced into an awkward balancing act just to avoid contamination. And if there's a line outside, which there almost always is, you're taking much longer than everyone else because you're essentially undressing and redressing. I've watched passengers emerge sweaty, flustered, and exhausted after a single restroom trip in a romper. Save that outfit for dinner at the resort. On the plane, wear separate pieces. Pants and a top will always win when turbulence hits and nature calls. Next, we need to talk about fabric, especially rigid, non-stretch materials like heavy denim. High-waisted, tight jeans look polished, but they are a mistake in the air. Here's why. When a plane climbs to cruising altitude, cabin pressure drops to what feels like being 6,000 to 8,000 feet above sea level. According to basic physics, gas expands as pressure decreases. That means the gas inside your stomach and intestines expands by roughly 30% during flight. This is why almost everyone experiences bloating on planes. It's unavoidable. When you're wearing tight, structured jeans with no give, that expanding gas has nowhere to go. The waistband presses into your abdomen, causing discomfort, cramps, and indigestion. I've handed out antacids to passengers complaining of stomach pain while watching them struggle to sit because their jeans were cutting into them. Elastic waistbands matter. Joggers, leggings, or pants with real stretch allow your body to adapt to what flying naturally does to it. This brings us to footwear, and before we reach the serious safety issue, we need to address open-toed shoes like sandals and flip-flops. I understand the vacation mindset, but keep your toes covered until you land. Airports are dirty environments, and walking through terminals and security lines exposes your feet to everything. Planes are also cold by design, and bare feet get uncomfortable fast. I often see people curling their feet under themselves or asking for blankets just to warm their toes, and blankets are not always available. There's also a hygiene issue on board. Bare feet on armrests, walls, or lavatory floors are unsanitary and inconsiderate. If you enter the restroom in flip-flops, you are exposing your skin to whatever fluids are on that floor. Closed shoes and socks protect you from all of this. Sneakers are ideal. Before we get to the biggest safety concern, if these tips are helping you rethink travel comfort, take a moment to support the channel so I can keep sharing this kind of practical guidance. Now let's talk about lack of coverage, including crop tops, mini skirts, and very short shorts. This is primarily a hygiene concern, and it's one many people overlook until their skin pays the price. Think about how many people have sat in your seat before you. Planes are cleaned, but deep sanitation does not happen between every flight. Seat fabric absorbs sweat, skin cells, and bacteria over time. When you wear short bottoms, your bare skin is pressed directly against that fabric for hours. I have seen passengers develop skin irritation and rashes after flights. It's uncommon, but it happens. Wearing long pants or leggings creates a protective barrier between your skin and a shared surface. Leather seats introduce another problem. Bare skin sticks to leather, especially on longer flights. It's uncomfortable, sweaty, and awkward when you stand up. Coverage improves both hygiene and comfort. Now we arrive at mistake number 4, the one many people underestimate, and that is high heels and stilettos. This is not about sore feet. This is about evacuation safety. A flight attendant's primary responsibility is not serving drinks. It is getting every passenger off the aircraft within 90 seconds during an emergency. Evacuation slides are inflatable, and while they are durable, they can be punctured. High heels can tear those slides. If a slide is damaged, it deflates, and passengers behind you may not be able to escape. In a worst-case scenario, one person's shoes could prevent dozens of others from getting off a burning plane. In an emergency, we will command passengers to remove high heels, but imagine trying to unbuckle shoes while smoke fills the cabin and people are pushing forward. If you remove them, you may be forced to run across debris, fuel, or foam in bare feet. If you keep them on, you risk tripping or twisting an ankle. Falling in the aisle during an evacuation makes you an obstacle, not just a victim. Flat, enclosed shoes you can run in are essential. Sneakers are the safest option. Since we're discussing safety and materials, we need to address oversized clothing. Extremely baggy hoodies and cargo pants may seem comfortable, but they increase the likelihood of TSA pat-downs. Body scanners detect air pockets between fabric and skin as anomalies. The result is extra screening. If you want to move smoothly through security, wear fitted but not tight layers that clearly outline your body shape. Jewelry is another overlooked issue. Large earrings, stacked bracelets, heavy necklaces, and metal belts all increase screening delays. Taking them off at security is stressful and easy to mishandle. Jewelry also swells at altitude. Fingers can expand enough that rings become painful or stuck. If a ring feels snug on the ground, don't wear it on the plane. Heavy earrings become uncomfortable after hours of sitting, pulling on your ears and causing headaches. Keep accessories minimal. Save bold jewelry for your destination. Another common mistake is wearing complicated clothing. Items with excessive buttons, clasps, zippers, or laces are inconvenient in security lines and even worse in cramped airplane bathrooms. Lace-up boots or sandals become a nightmare when you're required to remove shoes, and relacing them without a place to sit adds unnecessary stress. Simplicity matters. Elastic waists, smooth zippers, and slip-on shoes make a real difference. Now let's talk about contact lenses. This isn't clothing, but it's part of your overall travel setup. Airplane cabins have extremely low humidity, often between 10 and 20%. Contacts dry out quickly, making your eyes feel irritated and gritty. Rubbing your eyes introduces bacteria, increasing the risk of infection. Glasses give your eyes a break and provide a physical barrier against airborne particles. If you wear contacts, bring solution, a case, and glasses as backup, and never sleep in contacts during a flight. Underdressing is another mistake. People board planes in tank tops and shorts because they're leaving warm climates, but the cabin is kept cold intentionally. Blankets are limited and often thin. You cannot rely on the airline to regulate your comfort. Layers are essential. A base layer, a long-sleeve top, and an outer layer like a hoodie or cardigan give you control. Scarves are especially useful because they can act as blankets, pillows, or lumbar support. Fabric choice matters too. Highly flammable synthetic materials like polyester and nylon can melt onto the skin in a fire. Natural fibers such as cotton, wool, and linen burn differently and are safer in rare emergency situations. This doesn't mean you must eliminate synthetics entirely, but choosing breathable blends when possible is smarter for comfort and safety. So, what should you wear? A practical travel outfit includes joggers or loose pants with stretch, a soft cotton shirt, a zip-up layer, compression socks to reduce swelling and clot risk, and comfortable sneakers. Wireless bras are preferable to underwires, which can become uncomfortable and sometimes trigger scanners. The goal is to feel like you're in pajamas while still looking appropriate for public spaces. I want to leave you with a story that perfectly illustrates this point. Last week, I had a passenger board looking ready for a red carpet event. Tight dress, high heels, dramatic hat, flawless styling. She looked incredible, but 2 hours into the flight, she was miserable. The dress restricted her movement, the hat wouldn't fit in the overhead bin, and she spent the entire flight cold and uncomfortable. By the time we landed, she looked exhausted. In contrast, the passenger in row 12 wore joggers, a hoodie, wool socks, and noise-canceling headphones. He slept peacefully for hours and walked off the plane refreshed. Comfort won that battle. The airport is not a runway. It is a transportation hub. Your goal is not to impress strangers, but to protect your body and well-being. Choosing function over fashion doesn't mean looking sloppy. It means dressing with intention. When your clothes work with you instead of against you, the entire travel experience improves. To summarize without repeating every detail, avoid one-piece outfits that complicate restroom use, rigid jeans that worsen bloating, open-toed shoes that expose you to germs and cold, high heels that pose evacuation risks, overly baggy clothing that triggers security checks, excessive jewelry that swells and slows you down, complicated fasteners that become a hassle, contact lenses without backup, and outfits that leave you freezing mid-flight. When possible, choose breathable fabrics and layers that adapt to the cabin environment. Next week, we're going to talk about luggage. I'll show you the exact suitcase I've used for years and explain why some popular luggage choices actually cause travelers to pack less efficiently than they realize. If you've ever struggled with overpacking or broken wheels, you won't want to miss it. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this helped you rethink how you pack, share it with the friend who always wears the wrong shoes to the airport. Travel smarter, stay comfortable, and I'll see you in the skies. The airport is not a runway. It is a transportation system designed to move large numbers of people safely and efficiently, and your clothing should support that reality. Comfort is not laziness, and practicality is not giving up. When your outfit works with your body instead of against it, you conserve energy, reduce stress, and arrive in a much better physical and mental state. The goal is not to look underdressed, but to dress intelligently for the environment you are actually entering. I always recommend thinking of your travel outfit as a uniform rather than a fashion statement. A good uniform solves problems before they appear. Joggers or loose-fitting pants with stretch allow your body to handle bloating and long periods of sitting. A soft cotton t-shirt breathes well and doesn't irritate the skin. A zip-up hoodie or cardigan gives you temperature control without forcing you to wrestle clothing over your head in a cramped seat. Zippers are practical. Layers are flexible. This combination keeps you prepared for a freezing cabin, a warm terminal, or a long delay. On your feet, compression socks are one of the most underrated travel tools. They help reduce swelling, improve circulation, and lower the risk of blood clots, especially on longer flights. Over those socks, wear sneakers or flat enclosed shoes that are easy to slip on and off, comfortable for walking long distances, and safe to run in if needed. For support garments, wireless bras or soft sports bras are far more comfortable than underwires during hours of sitting and movement restriction. Travel is already demanding on the body. Dehydration, pressure changes, and fatigue all add up. The last thing you need is clothing adding friction to that experience. When you dress with intention, you create a cocoon of comfort that allows you to rest, move, and adapt throughout the journey. I saw this contrast clearly just last week. One passenger boarded dressed for attention, wearing a tight outfit, heels, and accessories that looked stunning but quickly became a burden. She spent the flight uncomfortable, cold, and unable to relax. A few rows away, another passenger wore simple layers, soft fabrics, and practical shoes. He slept peacefully and walked off the plane, looking refreshed. That difference wasn't luck. It was preparation. So before your next trip, choose function over fantasy. Dress for your body, your safety, and your comfort. When you do, travel becomes what it should be, a bridge to your destination, not a battle you have to survive.